Yeah, what's good, everybody? Tuesday night, you know what that means? Flyers talk A to D. I know I'm wearing a different jersey tonight, but we're going to talk Flyers nonetheless. We got a lot to talk about. We got Alexei Kolosov. That saga continues, but could it be coming to an end sooner than later? Also, we had the rookie series games this weekend. A lot of teams definitely playing. Some look good, some haven't. We're going to recap the Flyers and the Rangers from over the weekend. Who stood out? Do we really want to take a chance on some of these other prospects that we have coming up? But a lot to talk about, like I said, tonight. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on those notifications. Don't miss a thing that A2D has to offer. Let's go talk some Flyers. Let's go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Flyers Talk A2D. I am Matt Sensuti, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
What's up? Repping to Paul Correa, St. Louis. Let's go. Favorite player for those who've been following along since the beginning.
And the broken one, Rob Povia.
You stumbled there, Maddie. You weren't sure what order you were going to go for me being out,
Yeah.
but you held it.
Return of the broken one.
And Mr. Blue Shirt, Mr. Broadway, Mr. Switzerland, Big Bad Brad Ryer. And we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. If you got any aches and pains that are causing you problems, go hit up the doc at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com and then take a little trip on over to Cherry Hill or to Burlington, New Jersey. It's got great staff in both locations, and he'll make sure that after a few sessions, you'll feel as good as new, like you never had pain to begin with. Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. All right, then, on to our poll question for today is, now is the best time to trade and move on from Alexei Kolosov. Agree or disagree? Obviously, it has been an ongoing, dramatic turn of events every which way you look in this situation, between his homesickness, which unfortunately continued to creep up, the Flyers attempting to try and convince this young player to stick around here in North America, and the Flyers organization trying to see if there's anything they can do to try and make it possible that he could be back at home, but then stay here in the organization. Let's just say that every measure's been exhausted, I feel. So the question is, gentlemen, do you agree that it is now finally time to move on from Kolosov and allow him to leave? Or do you disagree? Do you feel like there's still some other resolution that could be found to this difficult, sticky situation that the Flyers seem to be stumbling into a lot recently?
That's what I
Gentlemen?
call a sticky situation.
I wholeheartedly agree to this. Move him. Get rid of him. Not for anything bad, not anything that he's done wrong or the organization has done wrong. It's just because his wants and his desires right now can't be met. And he doesn't want to wait. He doesn't feel like he's worthy of waiting, which is fine. This is Cutter Gauthier all over again. It's not that he doesn't want to be here. He wants to be on the main roster. He doesn't want to be a phantom. He doesn't necessarily want to play anywhere but the Flyers. He would rather play in the KHL because he's going to go to a league and be a starter. He wants to be a starter in the NHL right now. He wants to be given the spot. the Flyers can't do that. They don't have a spot to give him. And he doesn't want to play in the AHL. He'd rather go back to the KHL and play over there, which I get. But he wants to be up with the boys. He wants the starting job. He wants it to be given to him. Ain't gonna happen. You gotta earn it. Yeah, it's the same thing with Cutter Gauthier. He left because he wanted a job on the pro. He wanted a spot on the Flyers roster. Not because of anything worse than that. Did he handle it properly? No. Is Alexei Kolosov handling it well? I think he's handling it better than Cutter did. But that says something. These guys want to be on the pro roster. That says something about this organization right now, I think. And I think that puts it in a positive light. These guys don't want to wait. They want to be there now.
Right.
So,
but the downfall is they don't want to earn it.
So would you say that this is, so you're saying it's a positive, but do you think that there's also a hidden negative here? Do you think that it's possible that younger players are just feeling like they have their ability and that they should just automatically be on the starting roster no matter who's in front of them or who has seniority over them?
Not necessarily. I think the Flyers are in a really good situation right now where they can give up on a goaltender like Kolosov. And I see Benny's kind of on the weight train and kind of see what happens. For me, trade him now. Flyers have a little bit of leverage where they can get what they want for him. They may not. I mean, you got Zavragan, who's playing really, really well in the KHL. He just had a massive night the other night in Sochi, making 37 saves. And then you have Carter Bjarnason. I mean, do the Flyers really need to hold on to this guy? Stack up on the picks right now. I saw Povin and pre-show talking about that, stacking up on the picks. If you can stack up on picks right now, do it. Do it.
I mean, again, one thing that can be said we talked about this a little bit during the offseason. We had a bit of a mixed feeling on the issue, but if worse comes to worse, you could always, if everything else fails and you don't feel comfortable with a prospect or two sitting in the third hole, you could always just go find a veteran player that has had some experience, give him a very small contract just for the season.
Yeah,
just to be round it out.
But that's the thing right now is he doesn't want to be the third guy.
Yes.
Because the third guy is going to ride the bench. The third guy is going to be sitting up in the press box. He doesn't want that. He wants to play. And the only way he's going to play right now, and it's not what he wants, is he's not even going to start on the Phantoms. That's Kyle Peterson. That's his job. So this is a situation where he wants a starting job in the AHL. He's just not going to get it. So instead of having him being all upset and potentially having him leave for nothing, trade him to a team that he can be a starter on the NHL roster, or at least a backup on an NHL roster, and get something in return. At this point, are the Flyers asking a little too much for him? Maybe. I'd give a second rounder for him. This kid's a potential starter. He could be a franchise goalie. But in that same breath, it's what can you offer me for this goaltender that isn't unreasonable?
Right.
There's a lot I would do for this kid.
Brian, real quick, let's not forget that Bjarnason himself was a second-round pick in 2023, 51 overall by the Flyers. So that's why there's a deep pipeline to where if a particular Russian goalie didn't work out, whether it was Fedotov, which, look, he was supposed to be here a lot earlier and wasn't, but eventually got here. This is why you don't just go for one or two prospects. You develop a deep pipeline.
Exactly. For the situation, because do we know what Fedotov is yet? No. We're not even. We'll have a better idea towards the second half of the season on what kind of goaltender he's going to be in the NHL. Do we have an idea of what Sam Ersson is? Yeah. He's at best, tandem goalie type of goaltender. Good. Don't get me wrong. He can carry a team, but he can't be a guy who's going to start 45 to 55 games for you. He's just not. But he's good enough to be a guy who can back up and play. He had 30, 35, potentially 40 games a year. because the league is trending towards a tandem goalie. It's just the way it is. The goalies are not playing 50, 60 games like they used to.
It's comparable
It's
to
good to
the
have it.
running back in NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
So before Rob gives his agree or disagree, or Brad gives his agree or disagree, whichever one, Mr. Twister saying, when was the last time the Flyers used less than 3 goalies in one season? He may have gotten a chance this year. Well, since the Flyers have had the deep pipeline and we haven't, and now that the guy that we thought was going to be our starter decided to get himself in some legal problems to be PC about it, we now have the spot wide open for anyone to apply for the position that is young and up and coming as a goaltender. So, yet to that point, he may have saw time in the NHL possibly, but it just wasn't the time he was looking for, as we talked about a moment ago. He wanted the full-time spot. Flyers weren't willing to give it to him at the end of the day, so it is what it is. He didn't want to get in line. He's like one of the kids who, you line him up for like lunch or whatever, and he's like, okay, you're third in line, Johnny. I don't want to be third. I want to be first. Like, too bad. I called you third. You're third in line.
Yeah.
Like it or don't.
It's give me an NHL job or I'm going to the KHL.
It's like, all right, have fun.
Flyers have done more than enough for this kid to try and make him comfortable, to try and make him happy. At this point, what else more can you do? Just trade him. Just trade him. See what you can get for him and move on from him. You got 2 other guys in the pipeline that could potentially lead this franchise to a Stanley Cup.
Right. So Mike's saying, I like Urson. And he also says Fedotov only has a small NHL sample size, which we've said before. Let's see how he pans out this season. Yeah, let's give him a fair shake and let's see what he can do.
So right in his prime right now.
Right. So Robbie, how do you feel on this? Agree or disagree?
I agree. I absolutely trade this piece of shit if he doesn't want to play here. I mean, how about you earn your spot? How about that? Right? No, but seriously though. I mean, every day that the Flyers wait in trading this man, it's less likely that they're going to get that asking price of a second-round pick. We saw this as the organization held off from dealing Carter Hart during those initial rumblings of his legal issues, and then it got to a point where he was damaged goods, so you weren't getting squadouche. If they wait too long, teams will not pay for a guy who may be reluctant to come to the States for that respective club. We don't know exactly what's in his head right now, but the conjecture is that Kolosov, as Brian pointed out, may just not want to play for the Phantoms at the AHL level, be a backup, or even be a part of the Flyers as a whole, a la Cutter Gauthier. And he would be game for an NHL spot with another club. You may be able to get your asking price while this belief is out there before the shit really hits the fan, so to speak. So now is the time. The time is now, like John Cena used to say.
So let's see here. Benny's saying, I just don't see the benefit to move him now. How much more of an improved deal do we actually get? I see no real need for teams in the league to move valuable assets, possibly at the deadline. And then he says, or next year's draft. And Mike's saying, trade this piece of shit. Great take, Robbie.
Thank you.
Maybe you should make that your quote for the week. Trade this piece of shit.
Boom. There it is. You want to play here? Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. You know what I mean? Peace.
Jesse Davis saying, what's up, y'all? What's up, Jesse?
Dude, where you been?
I know. It's been a minute. So Brad, where do you fall on the outside looking in on this situation? Agree or disagree? Do you trade him or do you keep him?
You trade him, and as Rob said, okay, if you don't want to play for the Philadelphia Flyers, then get the frick out of here. They don't need you. They can come in last with or without you, okay, or they can make the playoffs with or without you. Okay, this guy is just like that guy in the Rangers a couple of years ago, Kravtsov. You know what? These Russian guys, they don't want to wait their turn and make the team like normal people. Okay, and think because they're Russian they should start, get the hell out of here then. You know what? Whatever you can get for him, if you can get a second round pick, God bless him. Take the second round pick and run. You know, I mean, this draft coming up, if you get a second pick in the 25 draft, are you kidding me? Go for it. And you know what? There are a lot of teams that really could use a young goaltender. And there's also a lot of teams that could use a young goaltender and wait for him for a couple of years. So you know what? The Flyers have enough depth in their goaltending situation to get rid of him. The heck with him. If he doesn't want to be a Philadelphia Flyer, then the hell with him. I mean, you know, we're not talking about playing for like the Seattle team, the Kraken, or a team that just or the Blue Jackets. We're talking about the Philadelphia Flyers. Team's been in the league since 1968. This guy doesn't want to embrace Philadelphia, which is one of the best hockey towns in the NHL. Get the hell out of here, then. Nobody needs you. Go to Winnipeg if you want to go play. If you don't want to go here, say you like playing there. You know, it's enough already with these guys. I've had it with Russians and their bullshit. You know, as I said, the Rangers had the situation with Kravtsov a couple of years ago. This little brat that came up, he scored one stinking goal and made like he was a sniper. Okay, when he was literally set up for a tap in by Fox. Like, I'm a goal scorer. I should be starting. I should be playing every game. No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. Earn it. You know what? Brendan Hoffman is fighting for a job, and he was a first round pick. You know, there's a lot of guys that are fighting for a job that are first round picks that aren't in the NHL. Right? I mean, the guy on the Kings that was drafted after Lafreniere, what the heck is his name again? The guy on the Kings, the center. I can't remember his name now.
Oh, is it Byfield?
Byfield, yeah. He didn't come up and play right away. He had to wait. You know, I mean, these guys are like, you want to make the big money, okay? You're gonna have to wait in line, okay? If you're that good and you're confident in your abilities, come down here and prove that you're better than everybody else. And you know what? The Flyers aren't stupid. Tortorella's not stupid. Briere's not stupid. If you're that good and you're better than what they have already, then come down here, fight for a job, win a job, and you'll be in the NHL. They're not going to hold you back if you're better than everybody else. You know, but don't.
And there's opportunity. There's not a solidified guy, so there would be that opportunity, Brad. I agree with you.
Yeah, go play. Show everybody that they're wrong. Instead of being a little baby, if I don't get to start, then I'm leaving. You know, come on.
Plus, also on top of that as well, it's just, where would that make sense anyway from the Flyers' perspective? Because it's like you're going to put an untested kid in the goal, for the full 82. I mean, don't get me wrong. Essentially, Fedotov is still untested because he's only had a handful of games. But Urson's right there who has been tested. So the thing is, it's like where would the incentive be? It's like, oh, we're going to start this greenhorn in the net, and let's just see where this goes from here. It's like, by the way, he wasn't a first overall or a third overall. This kid was top tier. He was a highly touted prospect, but at the same time, it's like completely untested. That would be stupid. Be very, very stupid for the Flyers to do that. Listen, if you got guys like Marty Brodeur who are not immediately starting the moment you get them, there's a reason for that. They hold off on goalies before they put them in the net, before they're ready to say, okay, there you go, kid. It's your net now. Have fun.
Problem is, I just don't think he wants to be essentially fifth in line, which I don't blame him.
I mean,
I get that. He's ready. Give him a shot.
How old is this guy?
Oh,
22.
Yeah,
I think, right?
Still,
23.
I get it.
Goalies, most goalies in the NHL don't really start hitting their stride till about 24, 25.
Right.
You don't see that many 22, 23-year-old goalies. I mean, there are obviously some exceptions, but most goalies, it takes a while before they entrench themselves as a number one goalie.
Even Bazzi.
Yeah,
right.
Bazzi got his opportunity at 26.
Right.
Igor had to wait till he was 24.
Right.
I mean, they had Georgiev, and Georgiev at the time before Igor came. They brought Igor out of Russia. Georgiev was a better goalie. You know, you didn't hear Igor crying. I mean, he stated he was in the KHL, but you know, he didn't cry that he wanted to get traded. He just okay. You know, he waited his turn. Most really good guys and good players and team players will wait their turn and understand, okay, I'm not better than this guy yet. You know, does this guy really think he's better than everybody, or is he just a big baby? Because I get the feeling with some of these Russian guys that they think that they think they're all that, you know, playing in the Russian league. It's a little different playing in the United States. You know, when you're in the United States, guess what? You're going to have guys like Chris Kreider standing in front of you, driving you nuts. You know, you're going to have a guy like Wayne Simmons. When he skates past you, you might get a little elbow in the head. You know, you might have a guy like Brad Marchand who gives you a whack in the pads when nobody's looking. You know, is he used to that? Is that something that happens in Russia? Probably not. Not like it does in the NHL every night.
It actually does happen quite often in the KHL.
As much as in the NHL, though?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay.
Because some of those players that are done and they can't get an NHL contract, they all go over to the KHL. And they keep up the same antics.
That might also have an effect on this. I think that sometimes we don't bring that up, is that the KHL is the second, is considered the number 2 league in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So in a lot of ways, I think maybe that also kind of inflates a little bit in terms of ego or in terms of where you think your skill level's at. Whereas it's like, okay, so I am considered a starter and I'm very good with my team in the KHL. So therefore, that must mean my game can transition to the NHL. I think sometimes players do think that. It's not really how it works, but sometimes you get that little inflation of like, yeah, I'm killing it here in the KHL. You know, there might be a little bit of an adjustment to the NHL, but I should be totally fine with it. Not realizing it's like, well, there's a bit of a gap between 2 and 1 here. Like, there's a decent sized gap between the KHL and the NHL, whether it's skill or whether it's the physical nature or whether it's just the fact that the rink is smaller, you know, or the fact that, yes, there's speed in the KHL, but there's a lot of speed in the NHL nowadays too. So and again, you're looking at it from the dynamic of it's a different environment. It's a different everything from both leagues.
The big difference is that the second, third, and fourth lines in the NHL are vastly superior to the KHL second, third, and fourth lines. Now, the first lines, so the top lines in Russia are probably just as good as the ones in the NHL. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because there is a buttload of talent in that league. Okay, but they're all like first line players. Once you get past that, their depth is not there in the KHL like it is in the NHL. That's the difference.
Yeah, I could see that. As we keep going along here, Mike was talking San Jose or Anaheim could use Kolosov. I would disagree. San Jose just got Oskarov, so they're good. Anaheim, they still have Gibby, and also on top of that, don't they have a prospect? Oh, wait, they traded Gibby, didn't they?
No, they tried to. He's still there.
Oh, okay.
They're going to try to again this season too, but
that kid that they have there,
Lucas Dostal.
Good.
Lucas Dostal is going to be the future. He's going to be the guy there.
Yeah.
And then they got Haley Klang, who's going to be a good backup.
He when he played against the Rangers last year, he was unbelievable for like 2 periods. For 2 periods, the Rangers threw everything in the kitchen sink at him, and he stopped. And then finally, they got him in the 3rd period. But I mean, it's like, you know, how many times are you going to throw bricks at a wall before one finally goes through it?
Right,
it takes a while.
But here's some stats from Kolosov in the KHL right now. So they don't play as many games as they do in the NHL. So keep that in mind too. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
21 games in 1920, 2.28 goals against, 912 save percentage on 448 shots.
That's pretty good.
In 2020, 2021, this is all with Dynamo, by the way, which is one of the best teams in the KHL.
Is it Dynamo Moscow or Minsk?
Minsk.
Minsk.
9 starts in 16 games, 6.29, 6.69. Hang on, sorry. Let me try that one more time. My dyslexia is kicking in. 2.69 goals against, a 911 save percentage on 235 shots. And then he split with another team in 12 starts, 12 games, 223 goals against with a 915 save percentage. In 21-22, 24 games played, 22 starts. 2.9 goals against, a 906 save percentage, and 587 shots. Some of those minutes that we're seeing too, he played over 1,200 minutes 2 years ago. He played 600 minutes in 2020, 2021. In 1920, he played over 1,000 minutes. So he's getting a ton of time. He's playing so 2022-23 here, for example. Played in 66 games, 42 starts. 2.55 goals against, and a 912 save percentage on 1,046 shots. He had a record of 13-21-5 in just under 2,400 minutes. This kid's got the skill. He can play. But the problem is, and I don't blame him, have the ego, have the confidence. It's going to get you somewhere in this league. But the Flyers don't want to just give a guy a spot. That's not Tortorella's MO. That's not Danny Briere and Jonesy's MO. They're not going to just give you what you want because you see you want it. You have to earn it, which I'm all about. But if he's going to choose the Flyers or the KHL and no middle ground,
I mean,
good luck elsewhere, man. And I mean that genuinely, good luck elsewhere.
I mean, you look at it this way. There are teams that would love to have a young prospect like him that could possibly be the goaltender for them. Of course, I know there's that adage of, should the Flyers even do that and run the risk of, missing out on somebody like Kolosov. But at the same time, it's another one of those, well, you don't know. That's the thing. You just don't know.
Like Robbie was saying, that's the importance of having the depth that the Flyers have. You're not going to make everybody happy.
No.
You're just not. It is absolutely impossible to please everybody.
Yeah.
So when you get into a situation like this, be happy you have two other guys that could potentially be franchise goalies within the system. You can always bring in a Band-Aid. Look at what Detroit's been doing the last few years. They're just bringing in Band-Aids until Sebastian Costa's ready. Right. He's their franchise guy, and he's gonna be really good. I'm putting that out there right now. It is what it is. The Flyers put themselves, despite what this situation is, it's a good situation because now he's shown. You think other teams haven't seen what Kolosov is doing?
Oh, I'm sure they have.
They'll pay, especially for a young guy who could be a franchise goaltender.
Plenty of scouts go over to Russia and go over to all over the world from all NHL teams to take a look at prospects. So, yeah, definitely they've seen Kolosov. Tommy's saying the Flyers, are they a playoff team? I'm going to say no. But fingers crossed that we have a solid year that we had last year. That was really fun to watch. That would be cool to see with some confidence and development building with the younger players.
I think they'll be right there in contention, though. When up till game 82, like we saw before, and the team is 1 year more developed. And with Mitchkov in tow, even if the kid puts up like on the low end of our projections, that's still added scoring, is it not?
It is. I mean, it is. Even at a rookie, yeah, absolutely.
They'll be there.
Yeah. And we'll definitely talk about the Flyers rookie games because the rookie camp, they had their 2 games with the New York Rangers. And they look good. They looked good. So we'll definitely talk about that.
I got to tell you about something else that looks good real quick.
Sure.
I have to throw this out there because it's a must right now.
I'm sure.
You know what else looks really good? It's
sure.
called hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, turn on those notifications. Don't miss anything ATT has to offer. We got shows like this all week long. Eagles, Phillies, wrestling if you're into that. Obviously, we got the hockey show because you're watching us right now. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly Thursday. I'm blanking. Friday. Shit for everybody. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on the notifications if you're on the Facebook side. Make sure you're hitting that share. If you're on the X side, hit that retweet. If you can't catch us live, we are anywhere you can get your podcast as well. You just got to hit that like, hit that sub, and you're never going to miss us. You're never going to miss us. If you like having a conversation, we're here for you.
That's right. If there's one thing we like to give you, it is just shit everywhere. Shit for you, shit for you, shit for everybody.
Oh my goodness.
First of all, don't get that twisted. This is not shit. This is good quality. This is good quality conversation right here.
You just walked right into it, Bryce, so I had no choice.
Hey, that's for you, buddy.
So let's see here. What else we got?
Good shit.
Yeah, it's good shit, pal.
Shit for you. This is Oprah over here. You get shit, and you get shit, and you get shit.
A couple closing points for myself on Kolosov, right?
Mm-hmm.
A potential trade partner that I was brainstorming about as you boys were talking about that earlier. How about we give a little call to old friend Rick Taka and we'll deal with the Vancouver Canucks? That could be a possibility. I mean, depends on what your stake is in Thatcher Demko, but I think they could stand to get another goalie in their pipeline.
I mean, I think that would be a good idea because, I mean, they have been with Demko for a while. So maybe you bring in a younger player that's got a lot of promise behind him, either light a fire under his ass, or turns out Kolosov's the one you want to roll with instead of Demko. Could be beneficial for Vancouver and beneficial to the Flyers on top of it.
I will say I do like it. They don't have the depth that some of these other teams do. I wouldn't mind seeing him possibly going to Utah, like Priz was saying, because I think that's a really good idea. I don't even know who they have after Vejmelka, or however you say his last name. Vejmelka. With Vancouver, at least you have Demko and you have Ciliat behind him.
They did
However, real quick. Yeah. However, Demko does like to play. He does tend to get hurt a little bit. So maybe having a guy like Kolosov,
right?
Not a bad idea.
Right. I mean, he's coming off a great year. You know, Demko had a great season, but he had mid-2 goals against. Had to have had a plus 915 save percentage. You know, he wasn't the reason. You know, I mean, he was definitely an asset for Vancouver, but it just. I look at the age. I look at the injury history. Great point, Brian. And, yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting because Vancouver, obviously, they had that great year last year. No small part because of Demko. You know, they would love to build off of that and be able to take another division title for themselves and, you know, kind of finally get their foot firmly planted into the playoffs consistently. And you know what? They might be open to possibilities to make sure that could happen. See here. Priz saying trade the Russian for a Ukrainian goalie and see the reaction.
I like that.
That would be interesting. Might be trending it for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, we got Greg saying, everyone in here, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button for these studs. Thank you, Greg.
And look at props to that profile picture. That is GQ. That is straight Backstreet right there.
That is. Yeah,
man. I was going to say, speaking of stud, like, look at that.
Right?
Dude, you need to start selling that over at the stands, bro. You know, get the ladies there to purchase. And that's what you need to do. Sign it for them.
We're going to be calling.
Yeah. Let's see here. Benny's Nation saying needs to be the new slogan. Shit for everyone. Good. There we go. It's happened. He says, "Is your mascot?"
Oh, Benny, what did you do?
That is great.
What are you starting?
I think he's starting something genius. But
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
so let's see here. By saying Vancouver is in a good spot to win a cup for the next few seasons at least. And we got Will saying, "What's up?" Yeah, what's up? Greg saying Lincoln bio.
Back streets back. All right.
All right, so definitely I like the where everybody's heads at for trade partners, Utah, Vancouver. Definitely other teams that could possibly pop up. I mean, I don't know exactly what you would want to get in return. I would assume it would just be a pick. I mean,
Okay.
you could be interested in calling up Columbus, maybe offering to see what they would be willing to give up.
Yes. I'm actually very much on board with that one because they tend to do well with Russian goaltenders.
They do.
Hmm.
I mean, they've had a string of some pretty solid goaltenders, or at least getting goalies at their best time. I mean, hey, you might not think much about Korpisalo now, but there was a time period where a lot of people thought he was one of the better goalies in the league, and that was during his time in Columbus. So
Him and Merz Lincolns could be a very, very nasty duo.
absolutely. So
That
I
could
mean,
be- I like the thought process on that one, Matty.
yeah, might be able to pull some slick stuff there,
Agreed.
possibly.
Buffalo too.
Buffalo, they have been needing goaltending, but the thing is
No.
like, what would
That's not going to happen.
Why not?
They just signed UPL to a 4-year deal. And then they still have Devin
He's
Levy.
right. I forgot about
That's
that.
right,
And they
Levy.
still have Devin Levy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Levy's kind of, I think he's their go-to. Well, Antti Runta just retired. Was he with the team?
I don't remember I think the last place he was
Was it Carolina?
Carolina, I think, yeah.
I don't know if Carolina would be in the market for it though, because Carolina is busy trying to win a Stanley Cup.
No, they got Freddie Anderson and what's his name? Oh no. Oh, I'm blanking on
I know who you're talking about. That guy was pretty good.
Petter.
He flopped in the playoffs, but he was pretty good.
What the crap is his
Wait.
name? I think it was his last name. No. Hang on. I'm going to get it 1 second.
Wait, are you sure you aren't talking about Freddie Anderson? Because that man is self-sabotaging.
No. Well, I mean, he
Kachekov. Petter Kachekov.
Okay, that's who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Did you say that Freddie Anderson is self-sabotaging?
He is.
Yeah.
Have you
The man
seen?
just came off a blood clot. That's some kind of a hard for him.
Okay, I'm sorry about the blood clot, but what about all the other times before this last playoff run
True.
that he just got off of? All the times in Toronto, all the times before
Don't
that.
don't you dare bring up that one team. Don't you dare.
All those
Should be
that-
Chicago. Should be
that-
LA.
that one team
Shut up.
that sits not too far away from LA. I won't go any further than
You mean
that.
the team that's 45 minutes from LA?
I will kick you out of this chat.
Southern area.
Yeah,
the
somewhere in
funniest
that
part
range.
is that he can bring himself back in too, which is actually really that could make for a funny
That
little
would-
in the show. Just I'm kicking him out, he's getting back in. I kick him back out again.
Oh, let's see. Oh, Benny Station says, fun fact, Greg was on Love Connection. He was? Interesting.
Show's still a thing. I remember watching that show.
And
Then I
let's
would
see.
get yelled at. My mom would tell me that show was trash and I can't watch it.
Yeah, I can't see that, Michael Hayes.
No, I don't think the Flyers are traded with Pittsburgh. No, I mean they have in the past, but I don't. Not right now. Not when Pittsburgh's still trying to maintain a competitiveness, and the Flyers are trying to get up in there. There's no way they're gonna want to help Pittsburgh out by any stretch of the imagination. Not right now. Let's see.
Hey, the Blackhawks, maybe.
I don't think they have any major prospects in the goal, do they? I don't think
Not
so.
that I can remember off the top of my head.
Because if not, then I mean, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. But the question is, what would you get in return from them?
You probably wouldn't get a second, but you can get a
I
third.
like that, Priz.
A third wouldn't be bad with them.
Maybe.
Because you'd be, I mean, a third really is like the bottom of the second. Because they're going to still be one of the top 5 bad teams in the league.
True. Pris saying, if trading with Utah, I'd try to get Vladislav Kolyachonok. Kolosov to Montreal, Ottawa. Well, Montreal wouldn't be interested in that. Montreal's already got their goalie situation. Ottawa, maybe. You could see if Ottawa would be interested.
Ottawa's invested in Olmark right now.
Well, that's true. They are. They did get that sweepstakes, didn't they?
Priz is wild.
He's an LHD, but he's solid and would be good. That's NHL ready right now, and you could still get a pick out of it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And he's absolutely not interested in taking Kolosov to Chicago.
No, he's pretty adamant about it, saying we're good. Not interested in him. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
Prison's over here like, keep Chicago out your goddamn mouth.
Oh man. So
Not you. At least I didn't say the F word.
And you didn't do it live on television at the Academy Awards.
Fun fact. I'll try and see if I can find the actual. That was a redone skit.
Really?
That was done before.
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to try and see if I can find it. But that was a skit that was done before. And Will Smith just took it to a whole nother level.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to try and find it.
Oh, wow.
So before we move forward, I do have a starred comment here because this would be a good transition. But before we move any further, does anyone have anything they want to say about Kolosov?
Closing statement on all these players dictating where they play after signing contracts, right? This is just a generational thing. It's a softness that they don't feel like they need to work and earn their spot. And just like Eddie Murphy in that movie Life, if you ever seen that with Martin Lawrence, they are soft. S-O-F-T, soft.
Now, let's see here. It's
from a movie, apparently.
Oh, okay. Cool. Let's see. Mike is saying...
I'm trying to do it without having all the noise come through because it will.
Okay. Well, while you do that, Mike is saying, thoughts on the rookie series so far, the Flyers, who stands out and who needs to improve their skill sets. Obviously, for those who've been keeping track, which all 4 of us have been because it actually involves both teams, the Rangers and the Flyers had their rookie series. Game 1 was on Friday. The Rangers won that one in a shootout, which, of course, what a shock. The Flyers lost the shootout. And then on Saturday, the Flyers won on the 3-on-3 overtime with some heroics from one Samu Taumala. So,
by Jet Lushenko.
Well, the setup from Luchenko. Yes, very true. Absolutely.
I was hearing a bunch of rumblings that everybody, including myself, was discrediting any possibility of Jet making this team. And as soon as this rookie camp closed, all of a sudden now there was rumblings of, can Jet Luchenko make this team?
Mm-hmm.
Very good camp for that young man.
Very, very good camp. I thought he was outstanding. I thought he's proven a lot. There is some things he does need to work on for sure. I don't necessarily think and we talked about this last week. If you guys had joined us, if not, here's my little take. Give him five games. Give him an extended look. Let him get a little extra time at the NHL level. You're not burning the contract, so that's the plus. The downside is he can go back to down the juniors knowing what he has to work on. This kid has built a lot of hype behind him in the last few weeks. I think this rookie camp was a huge step in the right direction for him. I'm super excited for this kid. I think this is going to be an absolute steal at 13. And after initially, and it's on the record, it's on here somewhere. It's archived somewhere in YouTube. I thought it was a reach of a pick. I will be more than happy to be wrong about that.
That was from our draft review, actually, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it was.
So if you want to go back, you can feel free to throw that in our faces if you wish to do so. That's the joy of this type of work. So Benny's Nation saying, I thought Avon looked good. I thought Bonk had a really solid look. I really liked his play. Him with the setups, that was really nice to see. Seemed like he was getting his nose in there for that offensive touch, so that was nice to see from him. Mitchkov, of course, he was blazing. He was just skating circles around people. It was like, whoo, man, if he can transition that game into, the season, like, whoo, yeah, talks of Calder don't seem too far-fetched.
Scored a pretty goal in game 1.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
He did. He looked nice in his games. So,
my one guy that I like was on the Rangers was Edstrom. I thought he played real well, and it was a pretty shorthanded goal.
It was.
I didn't realize he could kill penalties.
That's a good asset for a young player.
Yeah, well,
really,
yeah, I mean, with his size and everything, he's a very physical player. He's got some skill set. I mean, I never saw Rempe kill penalties. I see this guy kill penalties. I'm like, okay, that's not a bad thing. 6'7", and you have a skill set to kill penalties. That might work in the NHL.
And Eric saying Jet and Mitchkov look good together. They did. They looked very good together.
Maybe that answers some more of the questions why the Flyers selected Jet in terms of seeing something in a potential pairing.
Yeah, maybe they saw something we didn't, which, I mean, of course they did. Benny's saying, if you give him 5, might as well give him the max of 9 without burning a year.
Oh, that's a minimum. That's a minimum, Benny. Minimum 5.
And then Benny's Nation say, don't say blazing. That just woke Prism.
Ears perked up like a little dog. Like,
F&A.
Did you say blaze?
Oh, man. And let's see here. Priz does go on to say, I hope Jet is good for y'all, but camp is camp, practice is practice, games are games. I'm still stuck at that point of he's not Consta, trying to turn the leaf on him.
Well, I mean, of course he's not Costa. I mean, he's going to be just on a whole nother level. But I mean, let's be real. If Jet was in the class that he was supposed to be, he'd be a top 5 pick. He's a year. He's technically a year early.
Right.
The boys are on fire tonight with these comments. By the way, just saying, you guys are crushing it this week.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So far though, from rookie camp, I gotta say, from the players that you were kind of hoping to see a little bit of something from, I felt like we did see something from them. So I feel like, okay, good. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's rookie camp. We still have the regular training camp that's coming up, but you got to start somewhere. So it's good to see, some of the younger pups really showing some of that, ability and that talent, that potential right there in these games, which is always fun to see. And give a little shout out to our boy Taumala, who, we haven't really had many opportunities to talk for, getting that big OT winner in the second game. So, good for Samu,
Right. And it was a nice goal too. He did a nice job of trying to sneaking away from the defenders behind the net, finding some open ice, and essentially had a wide open net. And great job by Jet there to have the vision to look for him, know that he didn't have the clean shot, looked at other options, saw Samu. Beautiful cross ice pass.
Real nice pass.
It was a great overall
pretty play.
It just goes to show, it's like, okay, like I said, maybe they did see something we didn't. Maybe Jets got that, ability to have that vision, to have that, instinct that you can't teach. You either have it or you don't, of just like, I got to make this move because I know it's not going to go this way. I mean, Coots has it. We've seen it plenty of times from him.
Mhm.
Hell, the best one to point out, I think it was Hayes who got the benefit on it. They scored that OT winner on Calgary. Cooch shot it right into the pads of Markstrom, knowing full well that one going in, but he knew the rebound was coming out. He knew exactly what he was doing when he did it, too.
Sure.
So it's like, you can't teach that. You either have that instinct or you don't at the end of the day. So I like that. I like that a lot.
Bonk. He's going to make a tough argument to make this roster. I thought he played really well. I think he's. Oliver Bonk is as advertised.
He is.
Smart player with the puck, knows what to do with it, knows what positions to be in. Maybe still needs a little work defensively to kind of strengthen up a little bit, but I think that's something that he could work on in camp. But I think it's going to be very hard to leave this kid off the roster this year. Emil Andre, again, another one. Had a fantastic game one. Again, he's another one. You just got to figure out. Sorry, there's a spider.
Hey, you gotta love the development that's going down in Lehigh right now with these kids. I mean, and we saw Forrester on the NHL level last year. So I mean, hats off to Lappy and company.
Yeah,
and I
doing a
think
fantastic job down there.
And I think Cam York was also on those rookie games as well. So he was playing real well too with them, which I think helped because he has NHL experience. So I think that definitely really added to the development of the other players as well. It's always good when you've got guys who've been on the top club and have stayed on the top club because York stayed on the Flyers. So yeah, I think that helped tremendously.
One of my funniest moments, real quick, Brian, was when Mitchkov did the Michigan and all the staff just looked over at Torts and he cracks up. Like, that was a funny-ass moment.
Oh, man. Something else. That was great. Actually, I really.
That is pretty
I got
funny.
a good kick out of that.
Torts doesn't seem to like the Michigan too much.
Oh, no. He was not a fan.
No, when Zegers pulled it off nicely, he's called flashy, but whatever. I will say this though real quick. I think if there's one benefit to having Bonk on the roster right now, it's that relationship that he's building with Matvei Michkov. These two guys can actually talk to each other. He actually does speak Czech, so or Bonk can speak Czech, I should say. So apparently he's kind of playing translator. And because of that, these two are kind of growing a nice bond together. So what other good reason do you need for this kid to make the roster out of camp? He's got that A with Michkov going on there. So
I mean, you would kind of hope he would be able to speak Czech, considering that his dad was like one of the better Czech hockey players in the league during his time. So
I mean, that's all well and good, but still, like, I'm just saying here, Maddie. Like,
I know.
Give a reason to bring the kid up. We're looking for reasons to bring him up. That's a reason.
Did I say it was a negative? I never said that, did I?
No, fair enough.
Go ahead, throw that on the tape, please. Feel free.
I will.
Play it for me.
Replay it.
Show me that negative.
Who's got editing supplies that I can use? Where's Brodo? He's got it on his computer. I know that.
You think Brodo's going to help you? Get out of here.
No, probably not.
All right. Not. For goalies, by the way, Mike, was Carson Bjarnason and Sam Hildebrandt. I think Hildebrandt did Saturday. I believe he was in goal. So. And then Bjarnason was in goal on Friday. Both were fine. I don't think they were. I mean, they have things they still need to work on, of course. I think some angles definitely need to be worked on a little bit. But for the most part, I think they were solid in net. I think that, clearly they've got some ability to them. But again, with goalies, it takes a little bit more time. So, they're still in that stage where it's like, okay, still kind of early. But again, Bjarnason, I know there's a lot of hype behind him. About as much as there was behind Kolosov. So again, it's, the hope is there, and he looked okay. He didn't look bad at all. So, again, development for him.
Yeah, and these guys are still super young, so it's not really that big of a deal if they don't have the best camp. Oh, excuse me. So it's more so like we're looking at like guys like Michkov, Bonk, Emil Andre, guys like that. Bjornsson, we're not expecting him for another couple of years. I think he's going back to juniors
Most
after
likely.
camp, more than
Yeah.
likely. I don't even know who the other dude is, so he can go back to wherever he's going. I think he's in the ECHL, so he can hitch a ride back back down
To
there.
Reading.
Ouch.
Cruel.
It's like,
That's where he's probably going to have his career. I mean, he's still got a better career than the four of
you
us.
just see Hildebrand just sitting on the street corner outside of the the Talent Energy Center, just like, hey guys, can I get a ride back out to Reading?
Bagging his shoulders, walking backwards.
It's where my hockey team plays. Let's see here. Benny's also saying, I think if Bonk really shows out in preseason, I think you see Risto move possibly to Vancouver or Edmonton. Probably not Edmonton. But I don't know. Would Vancouver be interested in Risto?
Why do you say probably not Edmonton?
Cap reasons.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're
Understood.
real tight against it.
There's a lot of teams that may not be able to afford Risto. That's
Yeah,
part of
because
the
his
problem with
contract's pretty
yeah, his
nasty.
contract's steep. Unless the
You
Flyers
could see a reunion back in Buffalo.
Good.
Maybe. Boy, that'd be interesting. Be like, hey, remember that guy we took from you and gave a really unnecessary big contract to? Can you have him back? We don't want him anymore.
Well,
Just saying.
the one coach that did get the good out of him is back behind the bench, so that could be something really good for Risto. So, I mean, he played well with Lindy Ruff.
It's true, he did. He does kind of fit Lindy's style. Lindy was always, the Sabres back in the day were always very defensive minded. So, I mean, I think that would actually benefit him now that you mention it.
And real quick, boys, speaking of head coaches, before we get out of here, I know Priz fired out a question for us in terms of head coaches, in terms of who is on the hot seat and who gets replaced potentially by Joel Quenneville, and is it during the season or after?
Damn it, Priz! Why you gotta make my job so hard?
I didn't have an answer for him, so I brought it to you guys.
You bum bitch.
Let everybody else do your work for you. I like it.
Rat bastard.
Very smart.
Mike Sullivan's still at Pittsburgh, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If they continue to decline, do they maybe start a new era in Pittsburgh as they get maybe transition from an older to younger team?
I mean, here,
And would Quenneville be that right guy for that assignment too? So maybe not.
I mean, with Pittsburgh, Crosby just signed his 2-year extension with them. So I think they still want to try and stay in the playoffs because he's there.
Right.
I don't think they want to completely move on from that.
Right.
So maybe they might think that Quenneville could get them into that winning category again. Enough that would get them ahead, since Quenneville has the track record that, precedes him.
So good suggestion, wrong reasons. Yeah. Got it.
No,
Got it.
I think Pittsburgh could be a good destination for him if Mike Sullivan struggles early and they get off to another bad start. Because, again, to Maddie's point, this is the window. They still want the window open because they got Crosby for essentially 3 more years.
Right.
Most head coaches last about 3 years.
We saw the same thing happen not that long ago when Washington took on Laviolette.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just to prop their window back open. And it worked for the most part because Washington's offense clicked again for a couple years there. It eventually fell off the rails, but for a couple years there, they were back in it.
Well, in all fairness, though, that year that they didn't make the playoffs, I mean, their whole team was hurt.
That's true. They did have that one year. The injury bug loved them.
Injuries, so
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder who that's going to hit this year, because it hit the Devils last year, and that's what crushed them.
well, they already have Luke Hughes is already out now for 8
Wow.
weeks.
That injury bug just loves them.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
listen,
mean,
I ain't complaining.
Ducks don't
But
Oh
have,
no, but that's a tough injury for them because he
it
he,
is.
he was really good last year as a
I mean,
rookie.
Anaheim doesn't have Senecki for another 3 weeks. Just started skating again. He's out of the boot. He was expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks, but the injury report came out about 2 weeks after he got hurt. So
Yeah, Torrey Krug is already out for the season.
I mean, there's definitely going to be teams that need to replace some people. To answer Pope's question, well, technically Priz's question,
Right.
Anaheim, LA, San Jose could all be suitors for Joel Quenneville. Maybe a team like Calgary, maybe could be a team.
Calgary
Ottawa.
Ottawa
needs a shot in the arm.
Ottawa desperately needs that.
Any team like that that could potentially be either a borderline playoff team or a team that's getting ready to come out of a rebuild. I think those are going to be the teams to look after with
Priz brings up a good one. Utah.
For a guy like Quenneville.
I mean, Utah would be an interesting choice. With the talent that they have, you could put him behind there. I mean, when he showed up in Chicago, Patrick Kane was still a rookie for the most part, and so was Taves. And then they built that team up, and Quenneville was the coach for the longest time there. So, I mean, Utah could essentially, if they play their cards right, they could do the exact same thing. Now, if they win as many cups as them, well, that's yet to be proven, but they could get some benefits out of it.
I mean, we can kind of start asking the same question about Dom Cooper at this point. How much longer does he have in Tampa Bay, and where could he wind up?
True.
I mean, there's going to be plenty of these young teams getting ready to kickstart their new dynasties. I use that term loosely because I can't think of another one because my brain is melted.
Very with there, brother.
Like there's so many teams that get ready to come out of a rebuild that could use a coach. I mean, Tampa Bay's on the verge of starting to have to start the rebuild. Pittsburgh is in that conversation. They might have another year or two with Crosby left. Washington's in that conversation. They might have another year or two because they're trying to get Ovi one more cup before his contract's up. They're going to give him as many opportunities to win as they can because he wants to go play in the KHL for a couple of years before he retires. So there's going to be a lot of interesting situations coming up in the next couple of years that we could see some crazy shit happening.
I did forget to mention that Priz ended that comment, by the way, saying Krejci will just stay Utah's full of weird fucks. So
beautiful state, though. Beautiful out there.
Again,
tell me how you feel.
The boys are just crushing the comments section tonight. Priz is saying I like Ottawa too, so that is an interesting one because Ottawa's kind of been needing some type of direction, considering the fact they've fallen on their ass these last few seasons after we thought they were going to go up.
They got a lot of talent on that roster. That's the funniest part.
Yeah, it's not the question of the talent; it's the question of can they put it all together. That seems to be the biggest problem.
And it's the thing with Buffalo too. That's the thing with Buffalo too, which is why I think they brought back Lindy Ruff is for that same situation. Is you have a talented team, but they don't go anywhere.
Right? They just hover.
They don't do anything. Like they're not bad and they're not good and they're somewhere just below mediocre, but they have talent.
Right.
It makes no sense.
I mean, give credit at least to those two teams. You could tell that they want to win. You could tell they're trying. So at least you can at least give them that. It's like they want to win. Just they need someone to put it all together. Anyway,
make sense, Matt. Make it make sense.
I don't know, man. I mean, hey, maybe Quenneville can make it make sense. If he can't, then I guess they're hopeless. But at the end of the day, we thank everybody for joining us for this edition of Flyers Talk A2D. A lot of excitement building after the rookie series between the Flyers and the Rangers and for several other teams. Oh, and I forgot to mention, too, imagine if Quenneville does go to St. Louis. Boy, wouldn't that be weird. After all the years of his team absolutely shitting on the Blues. That would be very interesting.
Maybe not the best night to wear this one.
Maybe.
I knew I should have worn my Patrick Kane one.
Oh, well. Chris saying, I wish Ryan Reynolds bought the Senators. We got a Deadpool goalie mask. That would have been interesting. So, once again, thank you to everybody out there. Thank you to the fam. You guys absolutely crushed it tonight on those comments. So please continue to crush the like, the subscribe, and the bell, so that way you can keep on getting the content that we love to give to you guys every single day of the week. Between football, baseball, wrestling, you already know it. Bryce said it earlier. We got everything for you guys out here. And we were brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, the Dr. Paul Vidal. Reach out to him at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com if you got any aches and pains. Next week, we will be right back into the thick of it. It's getting close, gentlemen. We're going to have to start doing some division previews soon. I would pretty much gander. We might be having some division matchups that we might want to be talking about soon.
I'm getting those daily press releases, getting those advertisements for season tickets. I'm starting to salivate.
I know. We're getting so close.
Maybe when I get that checked out, Rob, that doesn't sound okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just half St. Bernard. How do you know?
Oh, my.
What? They're lovely. They're lovely dogs. So...
A little sloppy, though.
Yeah, the best one was in the Sandlot. But anyway, so...
Oh, that's too soon. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones.
Listen, James Earl Jones, one of the greatest of all time. Anyway...
Did you know that he signed over his voice rights to Disney so that Darth Vader can always be voiced by him for the rest of, eternity? Like, in terms of recorded every word that can be said in a Darth Vader voice, so that way they can even recreate new dialogue. Like, what a selfless act, you know what I mean? But yet, it's great for the franchise.
You know what? I'm going to say right now, that just proves to me James Earl Jones, he is a class act. All the way. May he rest in peace.
Always was.
Always.
Terrence Mann.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It was hilarious.
Everybody sleeps on that one.
He was hilarious in that show. What was it? Big Bang.
Oh, yeah, the one episode he did.
Yeah, the one episode he did in Big Bang. That episode was hilarious.
Oh, it's great. I like Star Wars too.
He sits there, does
Mr.
a ding
Earl
dong
Jones.
ditch with
Earl Jones.
Carrie
Mr. Earl
Fisher.
Jones.
Oh, that's great.
He makes a crack at Harrison Ford. It's great.
All right. We thank everybody once again for joining us for Flyers Talk A2D. Fam, we love you guys. We'll see you next week. Like we said, so much excitement ahead of us as we've got the divisions that we're going to be previewing soon. Then we got training camp for the Flyers, preseason, and the regular season then. Excitement in the air. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, you stay safe. You stay healthy. Get ready, folks. It's coming. It's getting here. Peace and love, everybody.
Be good.